The Kansas City Chiefs just got great news after Wild Card Weekend. They will face off against the Houston Texans at Arrowhead Stadium in the AFC Divisional Round. You guys are listening to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the pleasure to be joined by my good friend Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com. And together we're going to talk about the Chiefs' upcoming matchup against the Houston Texans. This just became finalized. The Chiefs will play the Texans in a rematch in the AFC Divisional Round at Arrowhead Stadium. We're still waiting for the date and time, but if I was to guess, we're probably going to see this game happen on Saturday of next week. But Josh, I kind of want to get your thoughts on this matchup. Do you think that the Chiefs got the best case scenario with the Texans coming to Arrowhead?
I think they got the best case realistic scenario. Obviously, best case probably would have involved like one of the Raiders or the Bills getting knocked out over the weekend, although it's probably still good. Because if you had one of them get knocked out, you'd probably want both of them knocked out. Otherwise, you want those two to fight each other, in the next round. But yeah, I think this was the best realistic outcome for the Chiefs because the Steelers were never beating the Ravens. I mean, they just don't. The quarterback, there's too big of a disparity there. Bills and Broncos, it was wishful thinking to begin with, but Josh Allen just kind of went Superman like he typically does in the postseason. So Chiefs end up with the Houston Texans after the Chargers charger on Wild Card Weekend, and the Texans make it out of there. But, the Texans still don't look all that impressive. Even C.J. Stroud looked like he was seeing ghosts at times with the ball on offense with the Texans. So, this is a team that you just beat relatively recently, and it was probably the best that the offense had looked all season, maybe up until that Steelers game. I think that was the very next week. But the Chiefs have showed that they can take care of the Houston Texans, so I like this matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, the Texans still have a really good defensive line, and you had to kind of watch that versus this Chiefs offensive line that we don't actually totally know what it's going to look like yet in the postseason. But I trust these guys to get it done against the Texans for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think the Chiefs did get the best matchup possible considering all the outcomes. And looking at the Ravens and what they did to the Steelers and, watching that Bills game just end, I feel like having those two teams play each other is going to be the best case scenario, that you're not going to have to face both of those teams and that they kind of have to beat each other up in order to advance to the AFC Championship game. And the Chiefs get a familiar opponent at home. They just beat them like less than a month ago, I'm pretty sure. Like, this is a very favorable matchup for the Chiefs. And I watched that Texans game. And listen, I want to give them respect. I want to give them props. They did not win that game. The Chargers chargered and lost that game. Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions, got sacked 4 times as well. There was just, not a lot of good things going for that Chargers offense. And C.J. Stroud in the first half, it took that botched snap where he was able to turn it into a big play for that offense to finally get going. The Texans offense is not going to be able to do that against this Chiefs defense when they don't turn the ball over 4 times. Like, the Chiefs offense isn't going to give the Texans defense that many opportunities to take the ball away. And so I think this is a fantastic matchup for the Chiefs. I think it's even better than playing either the Chargers or the Broncos at home. We've been talking about how divisional matchups are never fun to play for the third time. And so I do think that the Chiefs lucked out with the Texans because I don't think that offensively the Texans can replicate that. I mean, they had a pick 6 in the game. Again, 4 interceptions is just ridiculous. And so, Josh, I do think the Chiefs have the advantage.
Well, and you look at that regular season matchup that they played less than a month ago, and their offense really did not do anything against the Chiefs defense after Tank Dell went out. And they don't have Tank Dell. He's obviously out for the year after that horrific knee injury. And so that's going to make it even tougher for them. And it's going to be a raucous Arrowhead. I remember watching that Chiefs-Texans game earlier last month, and it just felt kind of flat, with the crowd and everything like that. It was just another regular season game, but this is going to be a totally different environment for C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. And depending on where they're at with Jalen Watson too and his health, that could be an even worse matchup for the Texans on offense. If the Chiefs can get Jalen Watson back in the secondary. And of course, the Chiefs have had all this time now over the past few weeks to game plan for potential opponents. So I think they're going to be ready to play.
Yeah, the Chiefs are healthy, they're rested, and they're coming off of basically 24 days rest to play the Houston Texans that, listen, I don't want to discount their win, but it felt very emotional. I mean, you heard D'Amico Ryans after the game, like, they enjoyed their bye week or whatever. I feel like the Texans put everything into winning this game. It was an emotional game at home. I don't think we're going to see the same result, at Arrowhead Stadium in this game. The Chiefs kind of are going to take this game like the Texans are just an obstacle in their path at getting to the AFC Championship game. I mean, the Texans are kind of the lowest remaining seed. They are the worst team remaining in the AFC, and I think the Chiefs know that, and they're going to play up to their standard, and I don't think that Houston is going to win this game at Arrowhead. And so I think that, matchup-wise, the Chiefs did get the best possible result. That's not saying that the Texans can't do some things defensively to make this Chiefs team a little bit, off, because those corners, I mean, with Lassiter and Stingley, they were able to force Justin Herbert to make some really rough throws, and the pass rush, we know how good they are. But Josh, what do you think the Chiefs should do protection-wise for Patrick Mahomes? Would you put Joe Thuney out there? Would you put DJ Humphries out there? Who would you start at left tackle?
I think we're in agreement that it's got to be Joe Thuney because he's given you the best left tackle play out of any of the options this season. And I just don't know if I can trust DJ Humphries to stay healthy. I mean, I'm sure they're going to try DJ Humphries or they're going to try him at practice this week. But if I were Andy Reid, I would just play the hot hand and go with what works. And I know that the Houston Texans already saw Joe Thuney and Mike Caliendo in that matchup just a few weeks ago. And so they're kind of familiar with it now, and you can maybe change it up on them with putting DJ Humphries out there. But I just think you don't want to mess around with that. And at least Joe Thuney has chemistry with the rest of the offensive line and with Patrick Mahomes, whereas DJ Humphries does not.
I did watch the All-22 film of DJ Humphries from that Broncos game. And initially I was like, man, he didn't look very good. But after watching the film, he didn't get beat on that many reps. And he also didn't have the extra help that Joe Thuney had in that first Texans game. And so they're kind of in a situation where it could be a toss-up. But Josh, I'm with you. Why change with what's working? Joe Thuney is, I think, started 4 games at left tackle. He played this Texans pass rush less than a month ago. What is the point of changing things up, especially when it is shown to work? Like, I don't think the Chiefs need to, outthink themselves and start DJ Humphries at left tackle. We're going to end up finding out this week in practice if DJ Humphries is getting more of the reps as the starting left tackle. We'll, monitor that situation and keep you guys updated. But I feel like when you just look at this game, the Texans are a team that were kind of the 1B to the Steelers 1A of finishing the season. The Steelers lost their last 4 games going into the playoffs. They obviously lost to Baltimore, and it felt like Houston was kind of following that same path. Ever since they lost Tank Dell, the offense has been sputtering. They didn't look good. That game on Christmas against the Ravens, did they score 2 points, Josh? Was that what they scored?
I believe so, yeah. I think it was bad. It was like
31-2. I mean, yeah, that's the offense that Houston currently has. And, Nico Collins, fantastic. I don't want to, downplay how good he is, but the Chiefs defense matches up really well with that offense. They can slow down the running game of Joe Mixon, which is what the Chargers defense did in the first half. And so I feel like when you look at this game, the Chiefs have the advantage pretty much at every single spot. Like, I trust their defense more. I trust, Patrick Mahomes and this offense to put up points and not make mistakes against this defense. And so we're going to talk about this game all week, but I feel like, first initial reaction, the Chiefs are going to have a very good chance to advance to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I want to go back to something you mentioned a couple of minutes ago with Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley, who is being talked up as one of the best young cornerback duos in the NFL. And yeah, they are. But if I remember correctly, Xavier Worthy gave them all they can handle in that regular season game. And he's only gotten better since then. And you're also going to have Hollywood Brown back and fully integrated into the offense. And so as impressive as those guys have been, the Chiefs just showed not that long ago that they can take advantage of those guys in that matchup with quick passes to Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown.
And DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce, you don't think those guys are going to come alive in the playoffs? Like, I feel like this is the best time of the year because we see the Chiefs play the level of football that we expect them to play in week 5. But this is when they come alive. This is when they play their best football. And so I'm going into this game against the Texans like, which offensive piece is going to produce today? Is it going to be Xavier Worthy? Is it going to be DeAndre Hopkins? Is Hollywood Brown going to have a big game? Is Travis Kelce going to continue his postseason dominance? Like, the Chiefs just have so many ways they can beat you offensively. And you saw defensively in that final actual game of the season against the Steelers, the pass rush looked fantastic. The DBs looked good. And while that could have just been Pittsburgh's offense being horrendous, I do want to put some stock into what the Chiefs did defensively. And you're going to see Spags blitz a lot in this postseason. And so I think the Chiefs are in a very advantageous position in this game against the Texans.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And also about the defense against the Steelers. I mean, they sacked Russell Wilson 5 times without Chris Jones. Chris Jones is going to be well rested. Everyone's going to be well rested. And the Chiefs are at such a large advantage right now with everything being considered. I mean, the Texans have to come to Arrowhead. Chiefs are going to be well rested. They're going to be prepared. The Texans have been kind of on a decline, whereas the Chiefs are playing their best football at the right time. This just has Chiefs victory kind of written all over it.
Well, and listen, the Chiefs cannot take the Texans lightly. If they do that, they could lose. I mean, we saw that happen, back in 2019 where they fell themselves down in a 24-point deficit. They obviously came roaring back to win, but I feel like the Chiefs aren't going to make that same mistake. They know that this is the time to play actual meaningful football. And you saw when the Chiefs played those 3 games in 11 days, they turned it on and they looked like they were primed and ready to make a playoff run. And so I'm not really concerned that the Chiefs aren't going to show up to play. And if the Chiefs play their best football, I don't think there's a team in the AFC or even the NFL that can beat them. So, Josh, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the Chiefs are peaking at the right time, I feel like, and that will set them up for success throughout this playoff run.
Couldn't agree more. So again, the Kansas City Chiefs will play the Houston Texans sometime next weekend in the AFC Divisional. We're still waiting for the date and time of that game. If I was to guess, we're going to probably get the 3:30 slot on Saturday. That's probably what the AFC will end up getting. So again, the Chiefs will play the Texans in the AFC Divisional round with a chance to go to the AFC Championship game on the line. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe for more daily Chiefs coverage. Josh, my final question for you is, where can the people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube. Show Me Football is the channel name. Check me out on showmefootball.com, arrowheadaddict.com. Follow me on Twitter at showmefb.
And all that stuff, guys, will be linked in the description of this video. Again, guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.